Hi and welcome to a new Studio One tutorial. I'm Lukas and today I'm going to talk about range selections. So for everyone who does not know range selections yet, there are different types of selections in Studio One. In the arrangement we have the normal event selection. That's when you just click an event to select it, and now you can move it or duplicate it if you hold Alt or Option. And then there's a second type, which is the range selection. To make a range selection, you switch to the range tool, and then you see this little crosshair icon, and you can just click and drag to select a range. This can be within one event or across several events, or even across multiple tracks. And once you have made a range selection, you can copy the range, or just move it, or delete the range. That's a great tool, especially for audio editing. I use range selections all the time when I record and edit my videos. Now, for easier access, you can link both tools. The arrow tool, that's the normal selection tool, and the range tool. Just click this bracket icon in the toolbar, and now once it's linked, you will always have the arrow tool in the lower half of a track and the range tool in the upper half. In order for this to work, you need at least a certain track height. For example, let's just zoom out just a bit. Now the range tool won't show up, so make sure to be at a certain zoom level. And now you can move events in the lower half and make range selections in the upper half. Now, instead of going into detail, let me show you 3 cool little tricks how to create range selections. Number 1. Let's say you want to copy this part of your arrangement and use it at another point in your song. For example, you would like to use the intro of your song as a starting point for the outro. Then you could just create a range selection on one track and then go into the Edit menu and select and create ranges. That extends your range to all tracks in your song. So if you've zoomed in and you want to be sure that you have really selected all of your tracks, just make the selection on one track and extend it with Create Ranges. You can also just select an event without the range tool and say Create Ranges. That will do the same, but for the entire event. Trick number 2. Use the Tap to Transient function. If you don't know the Tap to Transient function, that's a really awesome command that you can trigger with the Tab key. This command will move the cursor exactly to the next transient on your current track, which is extremely useful, for example, for drums. Let's press Tab to jump to the next transient. That's great. Now I'd like to create a range selection from this exact position to the next transient. All I need to do for that is to press Shift plus Tab. This creates a range selection from the cursor to the next transient. And if you like, you can extend the selection further to one of the next transients. And now you can copy this range, or for example, what I often do, extend it to all tracks with Alt plus R or Option plus R on Mac, and then press Alt plus X or Option plus X to split all the events on the borders of the range. And then I can move and edit these events further. Trick number 3. There are a lot of commands to create and edit range selections that aren't in the menu, but you find them in the keyboard shortcuts. Here in the menu, Studio One and keyboard shortcuts. And the commands that I want to demonstrate now are range start to cursor and range end to cursor. These are really incredibly useful, so I'd like to assign them to my keyboard. Let's put range start to cursor on this key and range end to cursor on this key. And now, once you have a range selection, you can just set your cursor anywhere you want and then press the key to set the range start exactly to this position. Or you have made a range selection from one transient to another transient, but you want it to end a little bit later. So it's a bit fiddly to grab the range end and drag it. No, it's much faster to just place my cursor and press the key, bam. And now I can, for example, delete that range by pressing the delete key. And there are a whole lot of other nice range commands, so I can really recommend to try them out and see which of them are useful for your workflow. If you found that video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.